Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com with the Pioneer XDJ-R1 controller. This is a truly rounded unit, and I don't mean the shape, I just mean in its multi-purpose nature. It can play CDs, and that's obviously audio CD or data CD with MP3s and so on. It can play from USB drive, whether you just have your music in files and folders on your USB drive, that's fine. It can play Record Box, which is Pioneer's library software, enabled music from USB drive. Once you're playing Record Box music from it, there's a whole host of benefits which I'm going to talk to you about. It can also play computer music because it's got a built-in audio interface, and it is a MIDI controller. It comes with virtual DJ LE. It's got a standalone mixer, so you can play CDs and decks through it as well. There's 2-channel mixer down the front. It's got switches at the top to switch in pure analog. It's got an EQ'd mic channel, and it's got an extra auxiliary input as well for a backup. It can form its own wireless network with an iPad or an iPhone running Remote Box software, which is Pioneer's free software, which lets you take over control of pretty much every aspect of the unit from an iPad or an iPhone, which is particularly useful for library functions. So overall, it's got everything. I want to have a little look at it now. I'll talk you through some of the features and we'll see how well it performs in some of those areas. Now, the main things I wanted to show you were the effects and the remote control, because these are the areas that it differentiates itself from other controllers. So let's get a tune playing over here. In this area here, there's beat effects. A lot of these effects are from Pioneer's more expensive standalone club gear, which is great. So we've got beat effects here. The knob here will control what number of beats the effect repeats. So the track will kind of analyze on the fly, even if you're using music from non-Record Box sources. So I could do it like every beat, for instance, and I could hit the transformer effect. And then this is my level control to decide how much it kicks in. There's a flanger, an echo, and a roll effect, which has to be, to work properly, has to be tied really nicely to a beat, which it sometimes can't do on stuff that's done on the fly. But yep, that was perfect. So there is the beat effects section, and this is not going to work on your external inputs. So if you put anything in around the back, they're out of bounds. But what are in bounds for every input, including external, are these here, which are color effects. So on mixers a few years ago, these knobs started to appear underneath the bass, mid and treble and above the fader, and it was usually one of these. A filter. But Pioneer came up with the idea of adding more effects that you could do musically by hand and tune in, not using the beat control here, but just taking a bit of freestyling on. That kind of thing. So they came up with 4 more. So there's a pitch effect, which is quite musical actually. I quite like that one. There's a noise effect. This is the classic kind of white noise rave sweep. And there's a dubsteppy kind of crush effect. They're really nice. The whole sound quality is really nice on the unit. I was really impressed with that. So that's what the effects sound like. I wanted to show you this. Now on the back of the unit, you might have noticed a small stand, and that's where you can put your iPhone. Weirdly, it won't fit an iPad because this stuff works really well on an iPad. But assuming you're an iPhone user, and Pioneer have taken a gamble here, you can load the Remote Box app. And the thing I really love about this, it controls pretty much all aspects of the software, but the bit that I love about it is this. You've got your library here, so you can browse as if you were browsing on iTunes, your artist, an album track, your playlists. You can have playlists which are sorted out by key. There's BPM there as well, and you can just choose the track you want and then load it onto the other deck. You can even start it playing because you've got your faders, your mixer section, your decks themselves, and you've also got XY effects for the decks. So and you can stack the effects if you want. Now, this is operating over Wi-Fi. So it's set up an ad hoc Wi-Fi network with the unit. You set it up via the utility menu here, and you can walk away from the DJ booth and take this with you. So you can control the overall level, you can hit the dance floor to get it right, you can turn the sound down when your speeches are happening at a wedding, or you can just have a bit of fun, you know, and at the very least you can take it to the boys' room when you nature calls and you're in the middle of a DJ set. This kind of unit, I feel, benefits from something like that immensely. Now, the reason I say that is that these units traditionally are not been much fun to DJ on. I don't mean Pioneer units, I mean all-in-one units. I mean units where you've got CDs and USBs and it's got kind of like an apologetic computer plug-in and so on. It's the little screens, it's the difficulty of selecting your music. And once you've used digital, once you've had that big screen and you've been able to slice and dice your tunes and look at 20 tunes on the screen at once and say, no, I want to play that one. No, I want to play that one. And then do all this really flexible stuff to go back to a tiny little LED screen with 3 stripes. And this isn't a very good screen. You know, it tells you very little, few numbers. It's got how far through the track you are, but it hasn't even got, you know, any kind of rudimentary waveform. It's one of the shortfalls of this system, actually. I would like to have seen waveforms. But nonetheless, being able to control from an app on this, your library, quickly look at what's there, you know, look through what you played last week, look at your playlist from last New Year's Eve when you're playing this New Year's Eve, and just to throw stuff onto the decks. I think it's awesome. I think it opens up a system like this. It makes it far more modern and far easier for people like me who haven't grown up with digital. I was using vinyl many years ago, but I've got used to digital to use. Now, who's going to want it? Well, people who already use Pioneer's Rekordbox, it really is worth taking the time to get into Rekordbox if you're going to use this, the library software, because without it, it's pretty crippled. You can't use that. You can't do a lot of the searching that is possible from your USB drive. So you get into the habit of using their Rekordbox software as your music organization tool of choice, and then putting stuff on USB drives. So people who are doing that anyway, and I'm thinking DJs who already play out, maybe in clubs that have got Pioneer CDJ equipment, they're going to love this for home, for parties, for the odd mobile gig, because they can use all the libraries they've already got, just plug it straight in and carry on where they left off. Conversely, if you're starting digital DJing, but you think you're going to end up playing in a club that's got Pioneer gear and that's got Rekordbox capability, it's a good controller to have because you can use it with your DJ software, and then you can move up to using it with Rekordbox and without any waveforms and without all that kind of stuff, and just DJing on it pretty much like you'll DJ in a club. So for both of those uses, I think it's pretty strong. But I think mainly mobile DJs are going to like this. The kind of guys who've been using a system like this without the fun of having that are going to look at it and say, that is pretty smart. Now, this unit has had its problems in its first few months. I'm using the completely updated firmware as of now, the 15th of January 2014. I've been testing it for about a day and a half. I haven't used it with Virtual DJ because there wasn't a disc in the box. It comes with Virtual DJ LE. However, I have used it with CDs, USB without Rekordbox, USB with Rekordbox, and the Remote Box app, and it's been flawless. I haven't had a single hang-up, I haven't had a single problem. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys, early adopters who got this and had problems, they're not there anymore. Of course, I can't promise you that after such a short period of testing, but for me, it's a really impressive unit if you're looking for an all-rounder. If you're just buying something to use with DJ software, I would still say go for a dedicated DJ software controller. But if you want that flexibility, external inputs, CDs, USB, using Rekordbox as your preferred system, either because you do already or because you think you might want to in the future, this is good. Not the most amazing value in the world, but also nowhere near as expensive as Pioneer's club gear, and it's a solid unit. It's not going to let you down for professional use either. I was really impressed with it and I've really enjoyed reviewing it. It's the Pioneer XDJ-R1. The full review is over on the Digital DJ Tips website. Thanks for watching.